woman, and here's a line from it. If this town was small enough, they'd call us crazy curse, but in random city went ignored, which might be worse. I wooed her in nature's mess, my only and my first, and like a sparrow, she fell for me, my eyes and hers immersed. Like it's got that sort of poetic thing. Anyways, so there's that. And then there's the like I said, their shows were like a whirlwind. And there was another Simone, a woman who played drums, who was really fantastic. And we got along really well. She shared my drums. And I think I'm getting the thumbs up. And
no, I'm just saying I think we're back on YouTube is what I just discovered. So I'm pretty pumped about that. Facebook has failed. No one should use Facebook anymore anyways. Let's just go to YouTube and Twitch. Sorry to interrupt you. But I was there we go.
Just finish that off? Yeah. No. So the last I think the last show we did with them was in Toronto at the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And we went to the Keg Mansion after, which is just down the street. Had a fantastic party that ended up in Kensington Market somehow. But it was a great send off. Yeah. See, there's the avenue for talking right there.
Okay, we got to ring the bell. That's a great story.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, you're right. It's an amazing album. One of the many sort of like bands from our area that we've like toured with over the years. Really lucky to be. And like, I really didn't know this. I was saying to Mark earlier, like the connection to John Ray and Fletcher, John Ray and the River, and that whole thing. Those musicians, pretty awesome stuff. And Steve thought he didn't have enough to say. You're already one going over time.
Get started on and on and on.
Right on. So we got Sasso up next. What do you got here?
So this is a new find for me. This one, I was driving home. We were coming back from the cottage. Total darkness, just driving down the 400. And this song came on. And it's kind of funny. We like to think that we actually discover songs now. But with the algorithms the way that they are, they find us, right? They're listening to what you're listening to. And this song is phenomenal. I don't know. It's just like from the first moment, it's drenched with reverb. It's a throwback. It's almost like you're hearing a song that you've heard before, but you just can't put your finger on it. And so this one is called, it's Cutworms. And where am I blanking? I'm blanking right here.
On the name of the song?
Song of the High.
I put it up there so you could read it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that would have helped.
It would have been nice. So it's called Song of the Highest Tower. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous tune. From what I can tell, obviously it's about a failing relationship. I'm just going to quote some of the lyrics here. So many days I've spent, many times I've tried to give a name to the things that ail you, though I know I haven't the right. All the reasons I've built up, all the advice that I gave, drifted on like so many floats in a senseless parade. It's pretty beautiful anyways. Where is
this band from? Where are they from?
Okay, so they're from Ohio. He's now in Brooklyn, and the main singer-songwriter, his name is Max Clark with an E. So
cool.
I don't know. It's so powerful. Actually, all of his tunes are blowing me away to the point where it's like I just want to write to him and be like, much like, with $100, be like, we'd love to go on tour with you or something like that.
And they on the production end, because we're talking about all sort of sides. This is what we do when we're on tour. We mostly criticize music, to be honest, but we try to be positive as well. But like the production I noticed on this song is very similar. It reminds me of that Hamilton Lighthouser record that we love so much.
Yes.
Really like sparse, and it sounds like humongously like real. It is real. I mean, the drums sound like they're in another town, right? They sound so far away on that specific song anyways.
And the melody,
I really dig the production of it.
The melody is so beautiful as well. It's just like the guitar, everything is like it's just, I don't know. It's just from another time. It just pulls me in. 100%.
We should remind people that if you're not really aware of what we're trying to do here, there are playlists to listen to this stuff. Some of you may have listened to it, but as we go along with this show idea, and once we get all the streaming stuff to work, you'll be able to listen to stuff ahead of time. And we want to know what you think about this stuff too, because this is just like three guys. This is our opinion. But we stand behind all this stuff. We listen to a lot of music. And Cutworms, yeah, definitely. That's probably one that if we were on tour right now, we would probably be cranking that a lot, I'm sure. That sounds like a good like after show, record or something.
It's just such a late night tune. It's just like, it's the darkness, just like little bits of light. And you just like, you hear this voice come out, and it's just like, it just sets such a mood. So
yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah. I dig it.
Yeah. All right, nice. You're up, Kay.
Okay, my first pick is, it's funny. I just have to say my parents are both logged into this stream because I don't think they understand how it works. I sent them a link to test all this, which obviously worked great. I hope they can see us on YouTube. If you can see us, we're on YouTube now. they're both logged into the waiting room of this stream. Anyways, my first time producing. Yeah, Sarah Harmer to me is sort of the voice of Ontario, and that's the part of the world we come from. Her first band, Weeping Tile, is the reason that I even listen and play music like this. To be honest, like when I thought back of like we're picking 3 songs, and this specifically, this first episode, it has to do with the 401 corridor from our home in Windsor up to towards not Newmarket. We'll do another day where Steve's from.
Oh, thank you.
Up through Ottawa, and Sarah's voice to me is just like she's like the theme voice of like this kind of music for me. She actually introduced me to Neil Young sort of in a way where before her cover of Don't Let It Bring You Down on the Weeping Tile record, I didn't really care about Neil Young that much. I knew the hits, but it made me buy like Decade and then go into all the real stuff, like down to, like Stars and Bars and all that stuff. So she's one of my favorites, one of everyone's favorites. And she's obviously like a huge activist. I love what she's doing right now. She just put out if you search her now, she just put out a new video yesterday, which is amazing, with a little puppet frog called Little Frogs. It's really, really great. So it's called The Hideout. It also has to do with, I just love the way she writes, and it's the idea of going somewhere to like lick your wounds outside of the city where you're just like, you got to get up and like get over it at some point. But she, in the song, it seems she's like right in the middle of that sort of like wounded part, and she's just going to like stay out there for a while. And then, she's also very visual. She sings about the area we're from. So I think if, for those of you who are watching and are not from Southern Ontario, that she would be able to describe it very well to you.
Mm.
That's
I like it up on the escarpment,
Absolutely, yeah. You know what I forgot? As I'm supposed to be producing this, there's Sarah right there. There's a shot of her from years ago. Yeah, that's from the Weeping Tile days, and of course she's connected to like Luther Wright and Cam Giroux and all those guys, like who ended up being, if you have a chance, look up Luther Wright's The Wall record. I know he makes tons of great music.
You went and watched it at the horse
pretty unique
back in the day.
Yeah, it's so awesome, so great. Okay, ding me. That's a long time.
No, you still have 35 seconds.
30 seconds. Go.
Oh, is there a timer? Okay, well,
the dinger.
I guess the other weird story about Sarah Harmer is I once followed Weeping Tile from Kingston to Windsor and went to like every show, and I was one of maybe like 8 people every night, so it probably seemed very creepy and weird for them to see me every night out there. But I was such a huge fan of those early, like UFO Rosie and all that stuff. And this specific song, The Hideout, is from her. I think it's her first solo record. You Were Here, sort of a breakthrough for her. But
and that's I think it came out in 2000. I remember driving up the show,
like that.
And they were playing it on the CBC, and I was just like, "What is this?"
Funny enough. Quick Sarah Harmer story. Oh,
that's a loud one. Is a turkey ready, buddy? That's a turkey time. What do you got?
Anyways, I remember going to see Sarah Harmer with Casey at South by Southwest the first time we played. And man, he was shaking in his boots.
I was nervous.
He was like, "Oh, there she is." Yeah, it was a small event. It was amazing, actually. It was exciting.
I'll take a little extra time out of this one from another one, but I used to record myself playing guitar to her records and just like record tracks. I was like, I'm going to send this to her. Anyways,
that was awesome.
It was a long time ago. Yeah. All right, who is up next? I think we're back to Pitkin's pick. But this is I would like to also take credit for this pick.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to give you a shout out right now because Casey DJs a lot of the touring, and this album, it's the Neutral Milk Hotel album. I guess, I don't know if this is their first, whatever, In the Airplane Over the Sea. And when we started touring, that was when you listen to CDs. And before the internet. Nice. Seriously, like I guess we had about 4 or 5 CDs and we listened to them all the time. This is, what was it, 2004. And this one over and over again. I just remember how it had a lot of distortion on it, but I've read up on this album, and that was actually intentional. And it was the singer wanted distortion on everything, and apparently they mixed it through like cassette tape and everything just to make sure it was more distorted. Anyways, this guy, there's just so emotional, and I think the distortion helps that, and that's what I always got out of it. Like, man, this guy's like, he has that one song where he just yells Jesus Christ over and over. But this song is but this song is about it seems to be about a young love between the two pair, while the parents are just basically alcoholics and they're fighting, and the kids are getting sort of one heavy line my dad would throw the garbage all across the floor as we would lay and learn what each other's bodies were for. Like heavy lines,
I love them. I think the line before that is, your mom would stick a knife right into daddy's shoulder, and dad would dream of all the different ways to die, each one a little more than he would dare to try.
That's right.
And I have to thank my brother, because my brother introduced me to that record. And like, to be honest, I think Pitchfork only exists because of that record. It's like it is literally it has to be one of the greatest albums ever made outside,
okay. You had a picture of that album, didn't you?
I do have a picture. You got to remind me. That's right. Because we're not the only ones who are huge fans of Neutral Milk Hotel.
Yeah.
Like all the important people are also huge fans. Many people love this record, and especially influencers from like 1986 or whenever she was around. When was that? I don't know when she was important, but she's actually she lives near me now. I live near her, I should say.
That's right.
Yeah, this record, obviously, I think you could take, and it's a perfect album. I think I don't think many people argue about that. Mm-hmm. Like Jeff Mangum's like one of those weird geniuses.
Thanks, Chris Lafayette, for introducing that to Casey, for introducing that to Elliott.
Well, and the other thing is you're saying, is like on our first tour, like a lot of these records, that one that you just showed, so it's just like that's a pivotal record. Yeah, because we only had so much space to bring stuff, right? It's like everything else is packed with all our gear.
Remember, we tried to cover one of their songs at like Graffitis, and it was like Now Magazine came to see us, and we blew it so bad. Do you remember that? We tried to cover like Ghost, I think, and it was like so. I don't think I think it was like maybe it ruined us for a while, but I feel like it was like I
remember the show. I remember the door opening and then freezing all our guitars, and so all the guitars were out of tune so badly. Like
it was a rough time.
Cold, so it was like that was rough.
All right, let's move on. We could spend like 8 months on Neutral Milk Hotel. We could do a whole show, as everyone would. Yeah. We'll move on next to Mark's second pick. Oh, Local Boys, Hamilton.
Yeah,
is that right?
The song is called "Echoes of Yesterday," and it's by Cosmos Quartet. I'm just going to notice, Kate, that there's actually. Because
there's a Z in there, right? Or Z? Yeah. I'm in the States.
I'm bad at spelling, but I noticed that this COSZMOS Quartet.
The least of my problems on this production end.
I should add, I've since talked to Brad Germain, and his new record, they're calling, I believe, he told me, they're called CQ now, just to keep it simple.
Okay.
So there's no Z. Because I was trying to write it down. It's like just CQ.
Oh no, because I make so many spelling mistakes, especially on artwork and everything else. I just wanted to get a 1-up right now.
We got some. I'm just throwing up a guest comment because I'm testing all this stuff. Our buddy Drown Me and You says Graffitis was the best. We still miss Steve.
Oh yeah.
Love that guy. He's one of those guys. As we do the show, if people are into it and we're all hanging out and having a good time, we're going to talk a lot about the promoters who have like enabled us to do all this stuff. And Graffitis, we'll get back to this. Again, we'll do a whole thing about Steve Mitchell and everything. We love him. Love him so much. Yeah, anyways, we'll move on.
Well, it's the one thing. No, I'll just continue that point for a second. It's just like those are the things that are the best things about touring is like the relationships that you build with these people. These people become your friends and all that stuff. Yeah. Much like, okay, so Brad Germain is the next one. He's a friend of mine that I met once I moved here. He's there on your left, my right.
The beard
with the
bigger beard,
the beautiful beard.
That is it.
Anyways, you know what? So I met him through mutual friends, but playing in a baseball league called the Hamilton's Musician Baseball League. Anyways, and so in 2016, we were playing, and I'm playing in the outfield. We were just talking, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to do this record at Threshold Studio tomorrow. We're gonna record it live off the floor, all of that stuff." And it turns out that it's this record, which is Cosmos Quartet. And Echoes of Yesterday is my favorite song from this record. It's what gets me like right off the top is there's the string arrangement. I should actually introduce who's in the band. Brad is on lead vocal and guitar. Joel is on bass. Kate plays flute and piano, and Sarah plays violin and sings. I would add their last names, but I don't know them. And I went on Bandcamp, but Brad didn't put their last names, so I can't add them. Should have called them and actually got them. But anyways, this song, when it opens up with this beautiful string arrangement that is very akin to Sir with Love. And I always love that era of music. And this is such a quiet, beautiful tune. His voice is so gentle. And it just, like the song, obviously, I think I've picked all relationships themed songs tonight, now that I realize it, now that I'm talking about it. Kind of weird that I would pick it, but I did. Anyways, this is like a fall song. It's like this beautiful walking through the leaves and just trying to get over something. And one of the lyrics, or one of the verses that I love is, I was once afraid, but that was yesterday. Only calm remains. Left it where it laid. That's just where it stayed forever in a day. And it's just like he sings so beautifully, the phrasing, everything about it.
It's well structured too. Those harmonies that come in, the girl's voice comes in at the chorus, and the piano is like very much like on the corners of the notes. It's just like boom, like little things. Perfect.
Yeah, just like beautiful punctuations.
The new album's incredible too. I gotta admit.
I know I saw him in the park just the other day, and he told me that you can play it for me.
Okay, and I will.
But the one thing that I will add on to that is Brad is also the owner of Into the Abyss here in Hamilton, and it's an amazing record shop. So go visit it if you're local, even around the area. If you're Guelph or whatever, Toronto, come into town if you're going to go to Hamilton. I mean, obviously we're in a pandemic, so you can't go do that. So it's probably not open.
Lock Street, Hamilton.
But you can still probably order online, all of that stuff. Yeah, that's all. I just wanted to kind of give him a shout out for that as well. He's a great dude.
Love it. Yeah, it's like supporting people like that right now is the main thing. That's sort of the idea even behind this, is just making you aware that these people are still, venues and record stores and even restaurants. We got to keep helping them all out. So, yeah,
you didn't
good choice. Oh, there it is. All right, I'm going to my. This I'll be quick on. I would love to spend more time on this, but that's okay. It's just this is one of the most iconic album covers ever. I know it's not, I honestly put it up there with like Zeppelin albums and whatever, just because when I see it, it just makes me remember how much I love the album. It's absolutely an incredible album by Portland's finest, Blitzen Trapper. Eric Early, I believe his name is Eric Early. It is Eric. I'm not sure if that's his last name. One of my favorite poetic sort of writers ever. This song in particular, if you listen to it, is the gist of the song is growing up as a young man, and then the sort of adolescence of your life, you turn into a wolf. And which is it resonated with me, where you sort of go wild for a few years and then you meet a girl or a guy, whatever, and you come back to being a human again. It's the whole, and then like missing part of being that wild wolf. That kind of a story told in this way. Like I famously walked around Toronto one day for like 8 hours with this song literally on repeat, let the iPod die on it. It's probably my favorite song ever. It's one of those ones, and we all have them, where it's like, well, now I can't write that. It's like you're so jealous. Who's the DJ, the Toronto guy there? Kim. Damn, I wish I wrote that.
Kim Mitchell, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's honestly one of the greatest albums that of our time, I think. And they're a very underrated band and super, super the nicest guys ever, right? And one of those bands that can play Zeppelin songs.
And Neil Young. And
it's awesome. And it's not like cheesy. It's like their own version of it. If you check them out, they did a version of Harvest. They did live. That's right. I have that record, actually. Yeah, they did it at the Doug for a great venue in Portland, their home venue sort of thing. And it's amazing. It's just awesome. And it's one of those things where I was like, similar to Sarah, like originally super intimidated to meet them all, but they're like, we all met them and they're just like the best guys ever. So,
well, one of my favorite lines from the record or from that song is like, raise our kids up as gently as you please. And it's such a beautiful line, right? It's just like, it's so visual.
I like when he says, wipe the hair off my snout.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean, but it's like, that's what struck. And just the song alone, the arrangement of it is they use loons in there. There's like wildlife. It's not in a way that's like, here's the duck or anything. It's like this backdrop to like, to me, what I think Oregon even is, as we've driven through those great highways. And to me, that they would like, there's certain bands that do that are like, when I think of Portland, Oregon, or Oregon in general, I think of that album cover, and I think of the sound of that record. And I mean, American Goldwing is another one. They have so much. They've never done anything bad.
Well, even on this song, when they bring in the drums, they hold off everything for way longer than you expect, and then when it hits, it's just like, and you're just like, you're into it, and
All right, we're gonna move on to probably our country's best, Steve's pick.
Oh, okay.
And we know what this is.
I should also mention, folks, there's an animal. I found it 3 times in the lyrics of these songs so far. 3 different songs. I should make a contest. Damn, I'll give someone a free cup of High Horse coffee if they can figure this out. On our playlist, there's 3 songs that mention the same animal. It's up to you, people.
Oh, that's a good contest. I like that.
Yeah.
They just get 10
If you figure that out and let us know, I'll give you a prize.
All right, let's talk about the Sadies, guys, because this is like
here it comes.
I think just to preempt this is the band we listen to the most out of anyone in the van.
Yeah.
I think by a long, long shot. Like we listen to them more than anything else, and with good cause, because they are the Sadies. And if you don't know who they are, why? I don't understand why you don't know who they are.
Yeah.
So Steve, tell us about this team.
Most recent Sadies experience was Mike and Travis playing with Bob Young about 2 weeks ago. I think they did a live thing with Neil Young's older brother. Probably everybody saw it.
They shot the video.
It was a video, yeah. They shot a video in the town hall in Omemee, Ontario. So cool. Anyways, this is a lyricless song. It's called Northumberland West, and it was really I guess where it really came true to me how amazing they are. And I was lucky enough to play a show. I sat in with the real Sadies on drums. Self plug here at the Wolf Island Festival in Kingston, and the Sadies went on after, and just blew the night away. Like it was so incredible. Like at night outdoors in the summer, and it was just like took me back. And I remember that night really well because also that night the booker of the festival put us up, and they had this blue bin of books that were on their way out, and one of them was called Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. And I ended up, that's probably about the only book I've read over that decade because I don't read that much. But it
was in the van a long time.
Every word, yeah.
Did you read the last page first, though?
Yeah.
And then you went back.
That's for rock and roll biographies. Save that. But no, that book I read cover to cover. It was incredible with the Sadies playing in the background. And the Sadies, the imagery is in the music. And this song has no words, but you listen to it and you go, okay, it tells a story. And I just remember leaving the next morning from Wolf Island, and I had that book with me, and I was like, this looks interesting. It was an amazing book, amazing band, and they're still going. They've been going for longer than this band, and they deserve to be heard world around. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, I remember because I think Mark probably originally.
Ding me out.
Okay, but I think
No, you can keep going. You can.
Yeah. I'm going to add a quick story about the first time I ever saw the Sadies, because I think that is like, for most people, the wildest thing. And for us, we were playing a little festival outside of Guelph that was called Dog Day Afternoon. Our friend Lil Milanovic ran that fest. She was one of the first people to actually ever book us, I think. Mm-hmm. Like when we went to Guelph, it was she was one of the first to like get behind us and like get us. And I think that might have been one of the first festivals we ever played. We were super excited. We had played on this farm early in the afternoon, and the Sadies were headlining, and I had always heard about them from like that Toronto music scene thing, but never seen them or really known. And then I remember like they were late and everything. No one could figure out where they were. This was sort of like early cell phone days or whatever. And this van just starts barreling down. Remember that dusty road? There's just like what we thought was dust, probably smoke, but whatever. The van pulls up and they just pull out the amps, set them on stage, and I'm pretty sure this is the first song they played. They just
that's right.
Like turn their amps on like 1, 2, 3, just like craziness. It was, and I just like from then on, just like holy Christ. So, but yeah, that's one of those ones for sure. I love it. Good pick. I think that's a great pick. Who do we got next though? We have another good friend. Awesome.
Yeah, this is Mark's pick. Friends today, except for
no, it's good. These are talented friends. These are
talented point because a lot of my inspiration are from people I see and know, and like there's so much talent around. I don't need to go to who was it, Paris Hilton we shot, or Britney Spears, whoever. It's like people you meet. Like there's people right in our city, in our community, that are just fantastic. And here's a good example.
Well, Jennifer Castle, she is the very first person that I ever met in Toronto. We would play every Monday night at the Free Times Cafe, going to an open mic. And I didn't really meet her until one night. They were like, so we've decided that you guys can both play a Wednesday. Mark, meet Jennifer. Jennifer, meet Mark. And we became instant friends. And then we started playing Wednesday nights, played graffiti open mic, did all those different things. And she's just been, she's woven her life and my life have kind of woven together, pulled away, got back together, and all of these different things. But she's a brilliant musician. And from moment one, you heard that in her music. You know what I mean? Like in her voice. But she's become so confident in her voice. And this song, this album specifically for her, which is Angels of Death, which is her last record. She just released a new one, which is called Monarch Season. I don't know if you can see that. This is another brilliant album. This one harkens back to her being a singer-songwriter. But the one that I'm talking about, Angels of Death, is her with a rock band and it's kind of like the guys from $100 are in there.
Mm-hmm.
Backup singers, all of that stuff. This song is like such an emotional, I don't know, it's such a lament. It's so brutal. It's a, you know, it's another relationship crumbling, and there's no happy moment in it. Every line is it's a shame. I'll do some of the lyrics, but it's just like every time, every sentence is, it's a shame. It's a shame when I cry myself to sleep. It's a shame when I ask for the heart of another. And it's a shame when when my own shy heart doesn't creep. And it's a shame when I creep through my own home lonely. And it's a shame that I thought this river, that this river knew my name. It's a shame that I thought I could move a mountain. And it's a shame that I thought love was a game worth playing. And it's a shame that I thought I could win. And then this is the only upbeat line that I see is like, after all of that brutalness, it's like, and it's a shame that I'm starting again.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
it's just, in life, we're just going through this, you know, these emotions and these waves and all of that stuff. And it's like, this is a crushing song, but it's so beautiful. Like, dive into it, let yourself be washed over by it. And somebody else's pain is actually obviously one therapeutic, but you can kind of go through it with them and take it all in. I don't know. It's like, this is the one that you should dive into first, and then go in, find all of her other songs right there. It's
yeah, she's a magnificent.
Yeah, we got to sort of grow up a bit together in those early sort of days at like Cafe May and all those. I mean, you were even before I was, but she was one of the. I remember that famously. I think she played our CD release show, I believe, right? Like,
well, that's what we say. I wrote it.
Yeah,
so she did tin type with us at Cafe May. And then in 2008, she sung on the song The Body. She did the backing vocals at the end, the girls kind of singing. And then she played the Horseshoe with us for that CD release.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
She's been on Constantine Records. She's been all over the place.
She's been on Fucked Up. She's played with them. Who else is she?
You should probably mention too, like, completely, truly unique voice. Like, there's only one, right? It's like there's nothing like the way she can warble it. Like what she does is like, there's nothing like, it's sort of like Mark's voice. It's like you could pick. It's like very unique in that way. It's like there's only one of those.
And the funny thing is, like, she's morphing all the time. Like, her songs are morphing every time she plays them. They're slightly different. She's like kind of reacting in the moment.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
It's really interesting. But she's playing off the audience all the time. Like, where we're playing to an audience, and yes, we kind of change things every now and then. It's like, maybe I'm giving ourselves too much credit, but the way she does it is like so phenomenal.
Amazing.
It's like, it's a treat. And it's like to see her with a full band. And the funny thing is, the last time I saw her play with a full band, Cosmos Quartet was opening for them. So that kind of blends all of those things together. So,
well, let me give you a ding then.
There you go. You're out. That's it. All right. We're almost at. We are taking a long time, but whatever. Like I said, we don't have to do anything. Just do this as long as we want, but we will try to keep it tight. The last one is my pick, and these are our good friends. I've been waiting to get to these guys because look at these beauties. Look, this is the best. This is their promo shot, and Bernard is taking the place of the like unreplaceable John Dinsmore, which is great. That's Bernard kneeling down. He is he is one of the greatest promoters and friends we've ever met. He runs it, or I don't know if he still runs at Jane Bond if he's involved, but he ran the Starlight in Waterloo. Yeah. And just like one of the best people you will ever meet. Takes care of us like we're the Beatles and probably everyone, to be honest. He's just these guys like in this job at what we've been doing for 17 years. There's just certain people. He is one of them who just go out of their way to make you feel like what you're doing is important. And I love him for that. And he's just an all around amazing guy. But this band, NQ Arbuckle, we could spend a lot of time talking about these guys, but we've toured with them a bunch. The song that I chose is called Lifeboat, and it's actually called Song for Carolyn Mark, who is another famous Canadian person. When we were in Victoria the first time, we stayed in her band house. If you guys remember that, I think it was the first trip out there. We stayed at her house. She's like a legend, and her and Neville, they sing together all the time. You got the Kesper brothers who run Capsule Music and stuff. Kesper is like seriously one of my favorite guitar players in the country. He's just what he does is always. In this song especially, you'll hear if you listen to this song, which is worth watching the video for this song because it's just them hanging out with their families in the backyard and doing good things instead of all the bad things we all did together when we toured together. I think 2006. Let me see. Let me put this one up. Here's a poster from
2008.
Is it 2008? Yeah, at this from a great venue that we will talk about when we get to the West Coast section that has been gone for a long time, called Richards on Richards, which is one of the best venues. That night was insane. And that whole tour was, because I think Neville is one of those guys. Every album they put out is like some weird turning point in my personal life. It's always like at an amazing moment. Like what's the first one? Battle Scarred Pinata was like a whole thing. That was my introduction. And then Cheap Town is when we started working with Six Shooter around that time. Because I remember his C release party was like a hot dog party I think it was at the Rivoli, was it? I feel like it was at the Rivoli. Six Shooter can chime in if they're watching. But it was like they had hot dogs, and it was like we were welcomed into the Six Shooter family at that time when that record was coming out and our Ambassador album was coming out. So I feel like we're completely, totally connected to these guys. They're just like, yeah. But I mean, we can't really get into all the stories because it probably incriminate people or whatever. But we have a great time with them, and I think they're like they're probably the most underrated band that I know of. You know, like when you see their audience knows every single word of Neville's songs. I know all of them. But like when you're at the Dakota or the Horseshoe, everyone in there knows every single word, and it's just amazing.
Well, when you swear at your audience the way Neville does, and it's so endearing, like you can get away with it. Whereas like if I swore at our audience, it wouldn't come off as well. You know what I mean? I'd be like, you could like he's just
he knows what he's doing up there. But he's again like as a songwriter, it's just like what this particular song is about touring, which is what we're all missing right now. That's why I love the song. There's a line of like, the van only starts on the second try. And my favorite, and Mark and I talk about this a lot. In like the first lyrics of a song can just make or break, obviously, right? And
it's line.
The first opening line of this is picking up the band from broken homes, like picking up drinks from backyard parties. And it's just like the visual of that, like empty cans, and like I felt like an empty can. I get it. So like he does that. He has that way of taking just the style of writing or whatever. And it's just like he has another line in the song that's like, kick it to the early sunlit mountains. Like, you know, we've been in that experience, you wake up in Canmore and you got to go drive, and it's like, you got to be up early because it's far to where we're going. So it's like that whole like get up and go thing. So this is a great like traveling road song that I think is amazing. So anyways, that takes us to the end of the song section, I believe. Does it not?
Yeah.
We've talked about 9 songs. So whoever's watching and whoever's interested, we're trying to get this conversation going. So if you know these venues we're talking about, or this music at least, like let's talk about it, let's discuss. If you think this song sucks and there's a better one in the same world, tell us, because that's what I do all the time. We listen to mainstream radio and we're like, why is this on mainstream radio and Jennifer Castle is not? Like why don't I hear Blitzen Trapper on mainstream radio? I hear a version of that band that's like not as good, but Blitzen Trapper should be. So let's have that conversation. You can post it to these hashtags. Yeah,
introduce us to your music, your favorite music.
Because we don't know.
Even though we say narrowing our music, it's just narrowing it to the good stuff.
Yeah, narrow it down. You know, that's right. Yeah. Help us narrow it down.
Yeah, so those are our first 9 songs. We're going to be back in a month with it. There'll be a new playlist posted for the next section, which is like Toronto to Thunder Bay, which is going to involve. We might need some time for that one because there's some people and some stories on that trip. It's just like. There's some situations that we may need to get into.
Tooth from Sudbury.
I don't know. A lot of injuries, man. There's a lot of different things, and we'll talk. Hope we might even have some guests on. We'll see how it goes. But so that playlist will be up soon. Let us know what you think about these songs. Just post it up there. Send us a message anywhere. We're going to look through all of it. But I think next we're going to talk a little bit about some venues and some places between Windsor and Ottawa that we know and love very well. Yeah. I want to put up something quickly as a quiz. You have to tell me what town this pizza is from.
That's Naples Pizza.
It's got to be Windsor.
That's Windsor.
Let's see the comment. Okay.
I even know that.
We know this, and people from Windsor. As soon as you see this photo, there's no mistaking. Like if you're from where we're from, you know what this is. This is Windsor Pizza. Now, Windsor, the town that Mark and I were raised in, we just know this. This is our pizza. We know that it's the best in the world, but no one else does. Everyone thinks we make cars and we have a casino and that's it. This is the one. Here we go. Let's
shredded pepperoni.
Yeah, the key is shredded pepperoni by far. That's what makes and I think it's the polluted water too. I think the water we use is like a little full of metal or something. Makes the dough nice and thick.
A fact is like a historical thing is the very first pizza joint like that in Windsor was called the Volcano.
Yeah, I read about that. That's right. Yeah. And apparently, if this is true, and it seems to be true on those sources I've looked at, the Hawaiian pizza was invented in Chatham, which is just outside of Windsor, which seems insane.
By a Greek man.
Yeah, and there you go. You know what? For up until 2 years ago, I thought it was a crime to put pineapple on a pizza, but it's absolutely the best thing ever. Steve's a banana pepper guy.
I love it.
That's what you had tonight. Yeah. So we're going to talk quickly. You know, our hometown, Mark and myself at least, and Steve has been there many times, is Windsor, Ontario. We're going to shout out to some awesome venues on the corridor. Mm-hmm. This is the first one, Windsor, Ontario, home of the Fog Lounge and Tom Lucier, who's an amazing promoter and friend. And obviously all these people who are doing this stuff right now are struggling just to get by. And while there's no opportunity for shows, a lot of venues are selling beer and, trying to sell food and stuff. But the Fog is one we'd like to shout out to because I know Tom's having a rough time with lockdowns and whatever else. It's hard to keep people in a room. But a place that if you're in Windsor, please go visit. He's been a champion of music in that town for how long now? Forever. I don't know.
25 years, 30 years almost now?
Yeah. Yeah. In addition to that, there's a venue down there called Villains run by a friend of ours too. Big ups to Jeff. And that's another venue, a music venue where they really take care of people. And if you're in Windsor and you're around there or you're heading to Florida and you want to stop in, that's a place where you can have a great time. I spent my first paycheck in that bar. It was called the Eclectic, I think, at the time. Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Eclectic Cafe. Yeah,
I spent it all. It was like $110 or something. It was gone. Me and Rico Malizia. That was a great night. Yeah. So anyways, we wanted to talk about Fog. And because we are, as musicians, we've been home for 9 months and whatever, trying to keep our heads on straight. But there's a lot of places that have supported us over the years. As you go up the highway from Windsor, you obviously reach a little town called London, Ontario. We heard some bad news this week about call the office if you live in London or you've been there. This is a legendary Canadian venue that unfortunately looks like it's in trouble right now. It's too bad, but we've played, I don't know, hundreds. How many times have we played Call the Office?
I don't know.
That little window, I think it's the one under the red stoplight, if you're looking at it, is the green room of doom. That's the room of like one of the funniest green rooms in all of the history of the room.
It's not pretty.
They actually painted the walls black because there was so much writing on the walls. And then people just used silver markers, so it didn't matter. It was just like, which I loved. I think that was the funniest thing is like, we're going to paint the walls black so no one can graffiti this room anymore. And it's like, well, there's silver Sharpies too. And a lot of the unfortunate art was phallic, as many green rooms.
You can't draw penis. That's what they always say.
I don't think there's a green room with more of them though. There was that one, I don't know, it was 2012, whatever era when it was still sort of a green wall. Per capita, I don't think there was a green room with more of them than, because remember they were everywhere, and then there was this beautiful fruit bowl.
I was going to say the fruit bowl, yeah.
And it was like this artistic painting of a fruit bowl with grapes and apples, and the banana was obviously not a banana. They snuck one in there. But when we're in London, we love Call the Office. We love London a lot. Mark and I both went to school there. Mark, this is a quiz for both of you, and you should be able to name this place in less than 10 seconds, but where are we talking about? Right here.
Slovaki.
Okay, Londoners, Windsorites. Yeah. Oh, you gotta know this.
Slovaki.
Yeah, this is a famous London spot. It's it's near the bus station. Everything is.
Well, there's one on the East End as well. Because
we never go there though.
I was at Fanshawe. I would go there like pretty much every lunch.
But I feel like this one is the flagship. This is the original.
That's the one that we hit. We hit it.
Yeah.
Every time.
There's never been a time.
After we did the show in London with Blue Rodeo the last time.
I think we've come off the highway from Windsor to get it, possibly a couple times on our way home to Toronto as well. So yeah, London is a great music town, and again, all these venues are in trouble right now, and promoters and people who have really helped us over the years. So and again, like live music affects restaurants and everything else too, right? Like these other small businesses suffer from all this stuff. So we're like sending love to all these people who we've counted on. Like the Sammy's thing is that there's no question we're going to Sammy's after Call the Office. It's just like, where is everyone? Let's go. I've gone twice and maybe once 3 times in the day, like in the time we were there. Weird. Yeah, you don't want to go 3 times.
Well, here's the whole thing. If I forego McDonald's in favor of Sammy's Slovaki, you know how good it is.
Yeah. And then we're moving up. We're moving up to the hometown. Yeah, this is another one. Recently closed. Lou, amazing guy, amazing promoter. Again, one of those guys who paid us more than we were, took care of us so well. And
so
yeah,
but his level of music though, he brought in Slim Cessna's. I think I was one of 3 or 4 people there, and Lou's like, how can I not book these guys? And those guys were out of Denver. We played with them in Denver. They actually opened up for us in Denver.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's just like amazing bands that he'd bring in just because he loves the bands, right?
Sparks there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, these are all, it's like those people that we've run into over the years and got to know as friends, and like they become your friends, obviously, because we're all in this weird business. It's like, it's not easy, right? It's obviously not easy to do this, especially as a promoter. We've met so many who have like had to quit and had to stop because you just can't keep doing it, but they take care of us in ways that are like just so incredible. And Lou is one of those guys. And that venue for Hamilton, Hamilton's amazing. You have Tim Podesick doing Super Crawl. There's so much going on there. There's so much like
Brody
effort into arts. Yeah, Brody, like all these people who are like really making an effort.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll all come back. It's all going to come back. But we just want to shout out to those people, like support them however you can, if you can.
I just want to say one thing about the green room at This Ain't Hollywood, which was phenomenal.
Yeah, the big room. Yeah.
You didn't have to worry about space. It was like well kept, right?
Yeah.
It was just like it's like I think it's almost bigger than the venue, really.
It is,
which is
there's room to spread out. It's beautiful.
Or it was great. I should say.
Yeah, Hamilton's great, and it's awesome. So we're gonna do a quick story about this legendary spot right here. Now, okay,
Moho.
This is the only photo I could download in time. On the inside, there wasn't not much to look at the inside either, but this is the Montreal House. It is now I believe it's a barbecue restaurant. Hi, Steve. Wait, I'm going to do that too. I can sneak around.
Wait, let's see if I get this right.
Yeah, I was supposed to put a background behind that. I didn't do it. Production fail. But anyways, the Montreal House. Now, if you've been to Peterborough or you know Peterborough or Lindsay or that area, this place was a legend. It's an absolute legend. We first tour, one of the first venues we ever played, I'm pretty sure. And the story that Mark can relate to is on that tour, I believe.
Okay, so it was our very first show for our ambassador tour. And we had a couple of friends opening up for us. It was Bradley Boy and Poor Pelly were playing. And to set the whole story up it was well attended, but not sold out or anything like that. And the promoter came up to me. I think he came up to me first, and he was like, I don't know, guys. I don't know if I really can pay you what I promised. And I was like, what? A guarantee is like the guarantee. Like that's how
very little money.
That's how it works. And it was very little money at that time. But we were like, no, you're not getting out of that. But then I was like, okay, to the promoter, I was like, if you pay the opener guys what you promised them, then we'll be okay. And we'll take a little bit less, but as long as you pay those guys. But I felt kind of like, I don't know, there was like the hairs on the back of my neck were kind of like sticking up. And I was like, so I went to go talk to Bradley and Poor Pelly, and I'm like, guys, I went and talked to him. He said he doesn't have enough money, but I asked him to pay you what you're supposed to get paid. Let me know if he doesn't pay you what you're supposed to get paid. 5 minutes later, Pelly comes up and he's like, no, man, he's trying to jip us out of this. It's like, oh, sorry. Well,
yeah, it's okay. Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, it was like trying to take your money. So it's like, oh, man. So next thing I know, I'm kind of trying to find Casey to let Casey know what's going on. And I go outside, and Casey has the promoter held up against it, like the phone box outside. And I'm like, wait a second. Usually I'm the guy that's I'm the muscle or whatever. You know what I mean? Like good cop, bad cop. And I'm the good cop. I'm like, I guess I'm the good cop. And I'll let you take over from there, okay? It's like,
yeah, I mean, he was a smaller dude, so it wasn't like I was definitely punching down for even.
I was impressed.
Well, no punches were thrown, but
no, but I felt bad. Like he was he ended up getting pretty sort of like he wasn't crying, but he was scared because I was kind of drunk and I was probably I guess intimidating. I don't know. I can't picture that now, but it was like I was pretty mad. I was like it was like I think it was $200 or $150, but we needed that money. We still do. It's like. You can't do that to us. And then, like it got, I was really like, I haven't been like that since. I don't remember being that way before, but I was ready. I was like, going to have to fight this guy and take money, right? Like me.
Take him to his bank machine, right?
I mean, again, you got to back up. It's the Montreal House. You're drinking. There was a lot of whiskey. There was like, I was not myself essentially. And I was mad, but this leads up to like, it's getting loud and we're yelling and everything. And then out from the side door comes the glowing angel, Jay, our buddy Rowan, who was running the bar at the time and has now become a good pal of ours, an amazing friend. And he took care of everything. He sort of like, he paid us and made sure that he would settle it with Rob separately. But that was sort of the beginning of the relationship with Jay and the Montreal House, where it was like, he's a super fan. It hit both, you know, that whole crew of guys like Sean and everyone. They're all so amazing. So when we go to Peterborough, it feels like home all the time. They come to every show. They know they're going to be downstairs with us at the Red Dog, which is the current, still another legendary Peterborough venue, which we could speak about, where we currently usually play. Another amazing sort of roadhouse. They have somehow had two. But yeah, like meeting someone like Jay from that experience. And like you mentioned, Bradley Boy and Port Pelly, which we ended up playing with so many times over the years in the form of like the Stables or the Kent Boys or the multiple millions of things Bradley Boy does. He's putting out another record, you know, very soon. So it's just
one
like
of those things. It's the light and the dark. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, it goes from like, we're not going to get paid to who's this new guy that's actually becomes an amazing friend that we've known for how many years now. Right. And it's just like, it just kind
absolutely,
of, I don't know. There's great stories. Obviously, you know, there's ups and downs and all that stuff, but
yeah, I mean, it was a funny moment. And to be honest, like you know, that guy probably is different now. That was just a weird situation. I don't want to say that Rob is a bad guy. It was just, he didn't make money that night. And this is the problem. He's trying to bring music in and, you know, people get into trouble. It doesn't always work out, but I was not about to let that, my share, my $50 go.
But he did have a nickname that wasn't good.
I know. Yeah, it was.
Start off with,
well, we didn't know that ahead of time. We didn't book a show with Rip Off Rob. We booked a show with a guy named Rob, but he's, you know, I don't want to say anything bad because it's hard, and it's I don't, you know, he's probably.
They're getting shout outs down there, by the way. Brad, those are my homeboys from Oshawa.
I know. I was putting them up there. Absolutely.
No,
yeah.
Oh, did you add those? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Oh, you can post that stuff. Right?
I'm producing it. Produce
the shit.
Well, see, there's another one. It's just like Oshawa.
There you go.
Boys from
There
Oshawa.
you
So
go.
like,
Yeah.
Someone's asking if the Moon Room is still there in Oshawa. I don't know about the Moon Room. I'm not sure.
I don't think it is.
We used to hang out at the Velvet Elvis quite a bit, though. That was one.
Velvet Elvis, Mustache Club, which was great for a while, right? That was we did 2 videos there.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, it's cool. That's Peterborough. I guess you know that would be if we're heading east. It's our first stop. Usually on a tour, we'd head up. I want to mention a quick thing here. This venue here, you guys maybe want to talk about this. This place called the Neat Cafe. That is not our bus. We do not drive a bus. We drive a much.
We're the trailer that they're pulling.
Yeah, we're that little white car over there on the other side.
Who's busing?
I think that it's probably maybe Matthew Good or like I don't know. They get big acts. They do get some bigger touring acts, and they tell great stories. But the Neat Cafe, and this is in a little place called Burnstown, Ontario, which is in the Ottawa Valley, essentially. I think his name is Mark Enright. I know it's Mark, but I believe it's Enright who owns it. And it's just like this crazy little small venue. They've been doing shows through this whole thing with social distancing outside. I think now it's probably done because it's obviously very cold there. But again, as we go forward and music comes back, these guys, if you're in the Ottawa Valley, go check this place out. It's called Burnstown and the Neat Cafe. The food is incredible. You don't, not even for music, just to go out there. And again, like it's sort of a second generation for us of people who are like all about music. Like we stayed at his house that night. And we can't talk about that, but like we can't. Amazing,
you're playing records.
Just a great time. Great time.
Like it's
absolutely.
We're not doing anything terrible.
No, but I don't want to. Whatever. It's just not. It's just one of those things. You stay up all night, and then we play the next day. Like you do the weekend, and you stay at his house, and you're in this like gorgeous spot for 2 days.
In all fairness, his house is like 200 meters from the venue, so it's just like you can just
absolutely go
and crash and do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, and actually that guitar behind Mark's head I bought in just outside of Burnstown, that one that I played on the record. That one, whatever. Yeah, Turbo Reflected. Yeah.
Oh, get it. Oh,
there it is. Yeah, I found that guitar
on here. So
it's like an old 59 Harmony, like just some weird shop near Burnstown of all places. So big love to them because we will be back there to play a bunch of times.
And then let's go further north to Ottawa.
Yeah, we go to Ottawa. Now, like so when we first went to Ottawa, it was Irene's. Obviously, we played here's a shot of our good pals, the A.C.R.O.N.Y.M from Ottawa, friends of ours. I think Steve's taking this photo. That's why he's not in it.
I think I was.
Or is that you up front there? No, that's not you. That's Howie.
That's Howie.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Nice try.
Yeah. But this shot was taken at a classic venue, again, legendary venue called A.C.R.O.N.Y.M, run by Eugene, and an amazing spot where we sort of, again, really when we were starting, like we're still dressed like the.
Look at Mark in his typical, that's the tin type outfit.
It is.
That's our early
ask if we were Mormons.
Yeah, well, or waiters. Like people would ask us for drinks all the time. Like, do you think this bar is that nice? The waiters would be dressed like this, like at Zayfod's. Come on, man. It's not.
Am I remembering correctly where Eugene got into a fight? Some guy punched him or something like that.
I feel like that.
Yeah, I saw that. At Zayfod's. Yeah, unfortunately, I was inside, and I was looking at the sort of the porthole, and all of a sudden there was this altercation. And Eugene, if anyone knows him, he's a East Indian guy who's been in Canada for years, and he's had these giant dreads. And I remember this guy just coming up and like punched him in the face, right in the mouth, and then started fighting him. And then within 30 seconds, Eugene was in with me, talking to me. He's like totally calm. He's like on his cell phone. Yeah, I'm just going to call the cops. I'm like, man, you got punched in the face. Like, are you okay? Oh, yeah.
Well, they were famously like what Fieldy, our longtime tech and like all around good guy from Windsor, Ryan Fields.
Yeah.
I think or maybe Noah coined it, but the disco loadout, right? That whole idea. We're like a band, we would play a set and then the venue changes over to dance club immediately when we're done. So it's just like the whole atmosphere changes. And we're like trying to rip gear off the stage. There's like crazy drunk ecstasy kids everywhere. It's just like everything changed from like a banjo show to this like insane rave within 30 seconds.
Yeah,
we're trying to load out through the front door that's lined up around the corner. And again, like, I mean, bars have to make their money. We always understood how that works. But it's like, Jesus.
I just recalled this. We were on, when we did our Tintype tour and went kind of up to Dawson City, all that stuff, Eugene reached out to us via email to ask us to play there. Like, we didn't have a booking agent or anything like that. And then I'm like, that's how it happened back in the days. Like, he was probably listening to college radio, heard our tune, and was like, hey, I'd like to book this band, which is phenomenal, right? It's like, for them to reach out like that. Totally. I mean, you know.
And then again, I feel like we could do a complete hour about the A.C.R.O.N.M and the tours we did together, especially if we talk about West.
All the way.
And the events of Hope BC. Yeah, we'll get into the Hope BC stories.
Yeah.
But again, we did that Wood Wires and Whiskey tour with them and the Sun Barnacle players, and that was like, I don't know, man.
Well,
that's
the whiskey company gave us whiskey to actually deliver to every promoter on the tour.
Yeah, 24 bottles.
The whiskey got divvied up between the three bands. It got delivered. It divvied up between the three bands. Never made it to a single promoter.
Thank you, Grants. We still have the banner they gave us that we were supposed to promote the shows with. But yeah, that was like it all culminated. We'll do it. We should seriously spend an hour on that one night in Hope BC, like with that whole thing that happened, because it's like something else. It's just like it culminated in that night, which is so fun. But yeah, God love them. There they are, the A.C.R.O.N.M one more time to show them there at Zapods. Beautiful. Quickly, we're going to shout out another one Ottawa favorite, at least outside of Ottawa. This venue is the Black Sheep, which is in Wakefield across the border. It's actually in Quebec, but a lot of people do travel from Ottawa to come up to this venue to see music, and it's great. Paul runs the place. I think the first few times we were out there, Paul basically does sound. He did the door. He was running the bar. He did everything by himself.
So I'm just remembering all these memories from back in the day. It was like,
I know the first few times we were there, like we didn't click with him at first. It was a little rough, and then we got along real well.
He had a lot on his plate, so you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. But if you are, up in the Ottawa area, this place is it's on. I guess it's on the Gatineau River. Is that the river? I'm not sure. I believe it's the Gatineau River, and it's just an incredible spot. Like, I feel like every Canadian band that's gone through there, it's a thing that everyone will be there.
You could stand on that patio and look the other way. There's a river and a train, like the train goes through there as well. It's pretty incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I saved a whole band's life.
Right, the Harlan Boys.
Harlan Pepper, yeah.
And here's the thing, Harlan Pepper got kicked. Well, they signed in as us into the hotel, then got kicked out of the hotel. And then we're like,
Remember the bathroom?
Elliott BROOD was banned from the hotel, but it was really Harlan Pepper.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was pretty funny.
They actually left.
Wouldn't be the first
not to talk bad about them, but it's more of a joke. I think they left the hot water running, because they wanted to do hot box.
No, it was amazing. It was like a sauna. I was like, I don't think people do this. I don't know what this is that we're doing, but I don't know if this is a thing. It was fine, but yeah, I think they were all. Oh,
go ahead.
Weren't they all still too young to drive at that point?
They were. Yeah.
Tom Wilson, drummer, drove them up.
Like they got a ride up there. It was so cool.
Yeah. Those guys
great bands.
So brilliant, so fun. Like that night, the one last thing that I will say is, like, I remember they started ripping off the sheets off the bed and they started tying knots on them. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? I'm just sitting on the bed having a beer. And they're like, we're going to go out onto the water, onto the ice. And just in case one of us falls in, we're going to bring this
that'll save us
to pull everybody back in as a life rope. And I was just like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
If you're going to go smoke, why don't you guys go smoke in the forest? And they're like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what would have happened? That would have been a dark show for.
But you know what? I got to say about that band, Harlan Peppers.
Oh, so good.
Amazing musicians. And they were young. They were like 20 or something.
Not even.
Very young.
Well, at that time, they were,
as you said, they weren't driving.
They didn't have licenses, which is good for the condition.
Yeah.
It was like, don't be driving.
But they were young. They killed it. Like every night those guys played.
They sounded like they'd been playing for years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
I love those guys. The Hayes brothers.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So, I think we're pretty much, we don't want to keep you guys too long. We do appreciate you putting up with our technical difficulties before. I do have one last. So as a touring band, we obviously eat a lot of weird food and late night stuff from everywhere. So I feel like we are a decent authority on late night food. So I have one quiz for Mark and Steve.
Oh.
I want to flash a picture up and you have to tell me what this place is.
Okay, go ahead.
Because there's many places where we'll go. And I don't mean to say bad food or junk food because it is delicious, but it can't.
And is this on the corridor? Can I just guess if it's
on the corridor?
Is it in Ottawa?
Well, hold up.
Yeah, it's Ottawa.
Oh, that's King Shawarma. You can't say shawarma.
That wasn't too hard. That was not hard. Yeah,
well,
this place.
I'm like, if it's going to be near Ottawa, I know what it's going to be. Late night shawarma.
Yeah, King Shawarma.
I don't know what that stuff tastes like in the daytime.
That's High Horse Coffee right there.
That goes well with the shawarma.
Yeah, it does.
Go to highhorse.ca, order that,
Yeah.
or you can enter to win the prize pack of Keeper Coffee Cup, Keeper Vinyl, or the grand prize winner. What do they get, Steve?
They get a free cup of coffee with the band. Is that right?
I don't think that's the prize.
They get coffee talk with the band.
Coffee
Them
talk.
and 5 of their friends get to hang out with us, and
On a Zoom call.
maybe we'll talk, play some music.
That's where we can tell you the stories that we can't say online in front of our parents.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, we do it, like I said, sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm glad it worked out on YouTube. It seems to be still working, but we'll just put this up here. So like I said earlier, we're going to put the second playlist for the second leg of this thing, which is going to be more discussion about music, 9 more, maybe 12 more songs. And we'll talk about the trip from Toronto heading west between here and Thunder Bay, which is like essentially for any band in the Toronto area or Southern Ontario, that's the beginning of like a long, long trip. So give us your suggestions. If you have stories about any of these bars that we've been talking about or anything like that, please do share them on there, and we can keep the conversation going. And the next time we do this will be in the new year, the first Wednesday of the month in January, which is, I think, I don't know what day it is. It's what the date is. What is the date? 3rd? 4th?
It's the 6th.
It was close.
It's the 6th of January.
And the offer's still on for prize for the animal that appears in 3 songs on there.
Yes.
What are you going to give them?
Well, it's going to be a surprise.
Okay, that sounds good.
But it is a prize.
But send us some of your music. We want to hear those tunes as well, right?
They're not like demos. Don't send us demos. Just don't give us.
We're not allowed to accept demos because it gets convoluted.
I'm just kidding. Send us demos. Send us anything because ideally we'd like to. If we mentioned a song and you're like, well, what about this band? Like we talked about Ottawa, and I just realized we didn't even say Kathleen Edwards' name. That's a crime right there.
Well,
we made some mistakes.
And who else?
Jim Bryson, the whole bunch.
Yeah,
all kinds. Absolutely. So we only have so much time, especially when it doesn't start on time and things don't work. So next time it's going to be great. Now that I've sort of figured it out here.
Narrow your music.
Narrow it. Yeah. The idea is to just sort of whatever. There's a lot of crap out there.
It's phony.
We're trying
it.
Yeah. Well, I always think, I look at mainstream music as IKEA. Everyone has a bit of it, but you need to get into those boutique furniture stores and get some of the good stuff. And a lot of the people we talk about today make that like unique boutique stuff. And that's what we listen to. And we hope you do too. If you don't know any of this stuff, just go listen to those playlists and look forward to the next one. And thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate it.
Hanging.
Yeah.
Because we can't do anything that we'd love to do. We'd love to be out there doing it for real. But for now, we're going to do this, and we'll see you in a month.
Up and get out of here.
There you go. Study up on the next playlist, and then have your witty comments ready for us, and we'll be in touch. And thank you. I think that's all we have to say.
Be safe, everybody.
Yeah, you guys rock. Be safe. Wear a mask. Be nice to each other.
Nice
next
work,
time.
Acronym, that's A.C.R.O.N.Y.M. We started a little music club and we called it Acronym. We can't go on tour again until this damn pandemic ends. Until then, friends, won't you come on in and join us for Acronym? Analytical criticism regarding objectively narrowing your music.
TNT